Hello. So I am
Hello.
so excited to talk to you about mornings today, Kat.
Yes, me too. Me too. In the morning as well, of course.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love it.
Brill.
So you have obviously had such a transformation in terms of your mornings, and I would love to
Yeah.
just hear that story and how you did that and who you were before and who you are after and the power of mornings.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So, and I think I love the way you've put that, who I was before and who I am now. And it's there's definitely a label that I had prior to transforming my mornings of I was not a morning person, but now I can proudly and with pleasure say that I am a morning person. And it definitely was something that I had to consciously change and consciously be aware of and shift. So if I sort of just take you back for a moment and kind of paint a picture of who I was when I was not a morning person. So it was sort of winter, so probably October, November time, 2020. And my typical morning would be lying in bed until the last minute that I had to get out of bed, and then sort of dragging myself out of bed, probably after a little bit of a session of scrolling social media and nothing particularly, to sort of get my day off to a great start, should I say. So, yeah, finally dragged myself out of bed, and either on my own accord or Mark would be sort of bellowing at me from the bottom of the stairs. Bless him, like I'm very fortunate that he has always been a morning person.
Yeah.
And he would always be up with the kids, and this makes me sound super spoiled, there with my coffee ready for me to walk downstairs.
Love it.
Proper zombie. And I'd very begrudgingly get out of bed, come down the stairs, grumpy, not very pleasant in the morning, just not, like I said, super last minute. And then I'd come down almost like, not openly, but internally sort of refuse to, I can't function until I've had this coffee. I couldn't possibly speak to anybody. Don't approach me. I'm just not nice. So I'd have my coffee. And then, because I got up so late and left it all so last minute, I was then creating such stress and like panic in terms of any parents out there. We know what it's like getting your kids ready in the morning. It is it should be an Olympic sport. Yes. Right? It should be an Olympic sport, shouldn't it? Because it's a challenge. I mean, my little girls are 5 and 7, so it's a challenge. And you need time so you don't leave the house feeling harassed. And I think I've shared this with you before, like one of my friends said, like stepping into parenting can be stepping into like having a frying pan smacked in your face. And it really can if you're not ready for it. So that's kind of the picture, sort of last minute, out of bed, grumpy, not very pleasant, not very engaging with the kids, then harassing them, then getting, frustrated and impatient with them because I've chosen to lie in bed and I've chosen to not give myself enough time to get us as a household ready. And then that just escalates then onto the school run.
Yeah.
And, those transitions from getting ready, leaving the house, going to school, it then it would hang around in me. Yeah. And I would just carry that into the rest of my day, which even saying it out loud now, I think, gosh, why on earth was I allowing that to happen? So I hope I've kind of painted a really horrid picture of myself there for you. But yeah, I got to a point sort of, as I say, winter 2020, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it to the kids. I can't do it to Mark. And more importantly, I can't do it to myself because I'm completely in control of what, when I choose to get out of bed, how many times I choose to snooze. And I thought, I've got to, no one's, good old Mel Robbins saying, no one was coming to get me out of bed any earlier. No one was coming to create a better morning for me. It was all on my own accord, and I just had to take responsibility and take control for that. So at the time, very, very fortunately, a friend of mine had suggested a book that I read called The 5am Club by Robin Sharma. Great book, excellent read, highly recommend. So I read this book, and the whole principle of the book is about owning your mornings, waking and elevating, and rising before daybreak and getting up at 5am. So I tried that. I'm completely inspired by the book. So I tried that, and I tried it for a few days. And obviously for me, that was a huge jump. Yeah. That was quite a big non-sustainable jump for me, because that was from like 8:10, like literally last minute, to 5 a.m. So I tried it with all the will in the world, but for me 5 a.m. was just, it was tough. It was tough, and it didn't feel like something I could continue. So I thought, right, well, what can I do? What small step, what small change can I make that is more sustainable, that I can continue, and just kind of start to bring it back a little bit. So I just started with 15 minutes earlier, and I know that sounds quite a mile apart from the 5 a.m, but that was 15 minutes extra, and I didn't really change my mornings initially in terms of what I did, but I just got up earlier, just so I had more time to adjust and to wake up and to feel less harassed and less panicked. And then gradually I brought that alarm clock earlier and earlier, and then I created time for myself, and obviously I had to then be mindful of going to sleep better, because it all goes hand in hand. Quality of sleep is really important. I think we do underestimate and undervalue how much sleep we do actually need. So I like to get around sort of 7 hours sleep. So eventually I brought it back to waking up about 6 o'clock in the morning. So then it was looking at, okay, so I've done that at a slow and steady pace. I've created that and made that sustainable. What new practices and what new habits can I now add into my morning to reshape, and just create a better morning practice? So again, through reading the book and inspiration in the book, and just sort of reading things online. There's a lot of stuff online actually that I went to. I could see, people. I've never really meditated before. So what's this? How do I do this? Journaling was something I'd never done before. So I thought, again, a couple of things that I could start. So it was small and it was gradual, and I found a 10-minute morning meditation on YouTube, and I would literally come down before everybody else, which was just absolutely incredible, because I had time then to wake up on my own accord, have my coffee, stare out the window, and I would sit and listen to this meditation, and I would simply just close my eyes, drink my coffee, and just listen and just give myself that time. And it's a beautiful, beautiful meditation which we can possibly share somewhere, and it's just a really good starting point in a couple of ways. If you're new to meditation, it's a great starting point, but also as a morning meditation, it's really beautiful. So I did that, and then that was only 10 minutes.
Yeah,
that's all it was. And the power and the impact that had on my mornings, honestly, I can genuinely say I totally underestimated the power of better morning practices, meditation, gratitude, affirmations, setting your intentions in terms of journaling, and celebrating all that in the morning. I totally underestimated that. And the shifts that you can do in 10 minutes alone is huge. So once I'd kind of solidified that as a practice, and that felt good, I then moved on to journaling, and that was completely new. So it's like, how do I start? Where do I start? What do I do? Who am I writing to? Yeah. What am I writing for? All those questions that you're like, I just don't know what this means. Like, I kept a diary when I was 12 about like boyfriends and first kisses and all that sort of stuff, but I'd never really journaled since then. So again, it was tapping into resources online, doing a bit of research, and I just simply opened a blank notebook and just wrote some questions in terms of how am I feeling today, and what are my intentions for the day, and just tapped into a bit of gratitude. Today I am grateful for, and that again, a huge, profound moves in terms of. Yeah, sorry, go on. I've just completely stole the mic.
No, it's okay. Sorry. No, I was going to say, I love just how you're talking about this, how you kind of you add these things, because I think we can get overwhelmed so quickly, can't we, when we think, right, we're going to do this, this and this. But how you just described that, you started to try your meditation in that 10 minutes earlier, and trying that meditation was your first step. Then you went on to journaling and added that in. I think sometimes we can just get overwhelmed straight away, where we have to get our mornings right straight away, and it's about testing and trying what works for us, isn't it? And you say, 10 minutes in the morning that's just time for yourself is so powerful. And you start in the day having a bit of pride and I suppose, just self-kindness by just having that moment for you rather than straight into the full day.
Absolutely, and you're right, because it is building, it is taking those small steps, isn't it? And it's having that patience, and I think that's really key, because I am quite an impatient person, and I wanted to wake up and be like, well, my mornings are now completely, the best that they can be, and I had to have patience with myself, and I also had to be kind to myself in the process, because it was a massive shift. I had labelled myself for as long as I can remember as not a morning person, so I lived up to those expectations and I stepped into that person. So I knew on a real conscious level I had to take responsibility, and I had to relabel, and I wanted to relabel because I knew there was something. I knew there was the power in, I underestimated it, but I just knew from what I'd been reading and from people I'd been listening to, I knew there was some real value in it. So even on the meditation side of things, it's you can do it in bed. You don't have to actually create any more time initially if you don't want to, because I'm sure if we had a show of hands, how many of us lie in bed and the first thing we do is grab our phones and scroll through Facebook or Instagram or any of the social platforms, but instead make a decision to say, well, actually my alarm will go off, and it could go, there's all sorts of fun technical things you can do. I'm sure you could probably set your alarm to turn into a meditation. I'm sure that's possible. But you could set your alarm and then have a meditation that you found the night before and just hit play and lie in bed and listen to that for 10 minutes. That is going to improve the quality of your mornings immediately. It absolutely is. So then the next step for me was, I actually then started to get outside. I'm very fortunate that Mark, my husband, doesn't have to be up and out early doors, so he was obviously still at home with the girls in bed. So I would then get up and out at 6:30 in the morning, and I'd go for a walk, and it was absolutely, obviously as the seasons change, I could be walking walking around our local park as the sun was rising. I got a podcast on, or I got some meditation on, and it was all relaxing music, and it was absolutely incredible. And if you have the opportunity to do that, obviously be safe while you're doing it. I would totally encourage that as well, because getting out and seeing that sunrise is, again, you're tapping into that gratitude of just the beauty that's all around us in such wonderful ways. So I added that into my mornings, but I wanted to share that because I'm also human, and like I said, just going back to the being patient and being kind to myself, there were mornings when my alarm went off and I didn't get up, and that's okay. But I told myself that was okay, because old me would have beaten myself up, would have gone, oh, you've not done it, you fell out of loop, you've not done it like 6, 7, 10, 12 days consistently in a row, Kat, you failed, you've not done it. And instead I chose to say, I haven't done it today, but you know what, I haven't got to wait until next Monday to do it again. I can just start again tomorrow, and it's okay.
That is so powerful, and I think in terms of that is huge, and I think that's how I started to transform mine. Is I was like, I know how I'm going to feel if I don't get up, and I'm going to be a bit disappointed. And then I kind of shifted it into, actually, because you go to bed, don't you, and you're tired and you're in that moment of like, oh, I'm exhausted, like what actual sleep do I need? And I started tailoring it to that. So I knew I wanted that time for me in the morning, and I'd gauge it to be like, but if I don't get up, like, I'm going to be really disappointed. I'm excited about getting up, and I know when I've done it. And it's that shift, isn't it? To when you start to see the power in it, you can get excited about getting up in the morning. Not every day, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I need that extra 10 minutes and I gauge it. But I just love that like when you actually find something that you love doing in the morning, you've instantly given yourself even 10 minutes of doing something that you enjoy, something that brings you gratitude. And that's just so powerful, isn't it?
It is, and you're right. It does require effort. It does, when any sort of change or shift in life, it does require effort. But the benefits and the results and the value in that effort is tenfold. And I love what you've just said, because I know you've reshaped your mornings as well, which I'd love to hear about in a moment. And I love that you're tapping into that feeling of knowing what it's like, but you've got to start and you've got to build that. And I absolutely did that as well. I'd be laying in bed and I would have hit a snooze and they'd be like, come on, but Kat, when you go for that walk, you're a different person when you arrive home. You are there, you're showing up in the energy that you want to be for yourself, for your family, and that impact of that, to carry that on to the rest of your day, is huge. And I think this is for me personally, this is the overall sort of power behind reshaping and adding that magic to our mornings, is the impact it has on the rest of our day. It's setting ourselves up for such a great day. And it's okay if it doesn't go to plan. It's okay if it doesn't go to plan, because we can take a breather and there's various tools we can use to kind of get back to where we want to be. But it's getting off in the right sort of tone, intention and energy.
No, the funny thing is actually when you get into this and start owning, I suppose, that time in the morning, if you are tired and you need that extra snooze or that extra bit of sleep, you can actually do it without, well, I found less guilt now. Like if I know that I'm getting towards a lie-in, rather than feeling bad about how many times I've snoozed, I set my alarm to how long I think I need, like the night before. So I really enjoy and actually get a lot from that, even if it's 10 minutes, because I'll get into how I set my alarms in a minute, but even if it's just, I am exhausted the night before and I think, do you know what, I need a little bit extra in the morning. It's like that little bit extra is giving me so much more than what it is, because I've let myself have it, rather than feeling bad about being on the back foot and not owning my mornings and just snoozing because I don't want to get up. I think when you own it, there's so much power in that, because you can enjoy it. You can let yourself enjoy it and be like, okay, I'm going to enjoy this bit of sleep. Or I'm going to get up and enjoy that. We're just a lot more kind in the way that we proceed through our day.
And I love that. And that is totally about giving ourselves permission, isn't it? And I absolutely love that. And I'm really intrigued to hear about how you set your alarms. So please tell me about your alarms and how you've reshaped your mornings. I'd love to hear.
Well, first off, I was inspired by you because I loved your story of mornings, and you were absolutely what kicked me off into just getting a bit more ownership for mine as well and taking that responsibility. And like you, 5 o'clock seemed quite a lot. It seemed quite a big shift. And I remember thinking, I kind of want to try being in the 5 a.m. club. So I actually set mine at 5:55. So I'm literally just in the club. Literally just. But that 5 minutes in the club gives me so I set one at 5:55 and I set one at 6. And in those 5 minutes, I now have got to the point where I train myself to actually speak kindly to myself in those 5 minutes. So rather than waking up, grabbing my phone or thinking about all the many things that I've got to do that day, I take a moment to actually just wake up and think about the exciting things that are coming up in the day, or the things that I'm absolutely going to do well in that day, or the things that I can't wait to see, whether it could be like a sunrise or something in my day that I'm looking forward to. So that 5 minutes is really powerful, and it's not, I suppose, would it be meditation? Kind of like I suppose, just a 5 minute thought process.
Yeah, so I suppose it's almost like it's visualization, isn't it?
Yes.
Visualization and kind of that manifestation. It all intertwines, but it sounds like a beautiful way to start your morning with a visualization, and because we have a choice over that, don't we, in terms of what pictures we can paint in our minds, and that's gonna surely that will definitely have an impact on the rest of your day. So, and
that literally stops, because one thing that I'm obviously, we can all press snooze, can't we? And I think when that first alarm goes off, I can very quickly, if I am really tired, I can turn it off without even realizing, and I am straight back into a deep sleep. So it was quite, I remember training myself to get it up. It was quite hard, because some mornings I genuinely would get into the process of just turning it off and not even realise, and then I'd wake up half an hour later and be like, oh man, I've not done it. So I think creating that 5 minutes, and also I've heard, and one thing that I have done to get there was only set one alarm. And I think when you only set one alarm, you've got no option. Like when that goes off, in my mind, when I go to sleep, it's going off. That's my only chance to get up. So that's one, because I was one of these that literally I would set one at 6, one at 5 past, one at 10 past, one at 15 minutes past. And I think in getting rid of those, but in getting rid of those, it stopped me doing that, because otherwise I would, like, absolutely, because the option's there. So I think in knowing that you want to get up, setting that with intention, that is the exact time. And then, like I said, I pivot. So if I am exhausted, I will give myself that extra half an hour or however I need it, and I adjust it. And I think that has been quite powerful in terms of getting the rest I need, because like you say, it's going to bed earlier as well. And if, you know, realistically, sometimes we do watch a little bit extra TV, or we have a little bit of a night out or do something, don't we? So I think I do adjust that in according to how I'm feeling in the evening. And then similar to you, I would then get up and I journal. I do a meditation, and I try my absolute hardest not to go on my phone for at least 20 minutes. And that's huge, because we all know the kind of hamster wheel that is social media, and just checking in on it and how addictive it can be when you're on it to come off it. So, allowing that time not to be on my phone has been huge. So for me, from 5 to 6, try to get to 6:30 and just have that time for me. And I can imagine how much of a difference that makes when we just put our phones to one side, because we can do it. Yeah. We can be without them. We used to never have them. I know. Well, if you're my age. I remember mine had an aerial. But we can do it. My first one. Yeah,
exactly. So we can do it, and it will make a difference. It absolutely will. So I think it's been really wonderful to chat over mornings and the magic and the power of what we can do to reshape and change and just get off to a better start, and the impact, the huge impact that has on the rest of our day, because we all know those feelings of just leaving the house feeling a bit harassed and a bit stressed and running late, and they're not nice.
Yeah, and I had a period obviously recently where because obviously having children, I've got 2 girls as well, and it doesn't always go to plan. And when they knew that I was getting up, they'd start increasing it earlier. So I was like, oh my goodness, what's going on? But then they kind of knew that was my time to start my day, and we started that day quieter. And it's amazing how I think when you grab that time, you make it work. And I think when we don't have that time, and as mums, like literally when it is literally that frying pan in the face as soon as you wake up, it is hard. But the thing that we don't do, and the biggest shift, is to give ourselves time. And when we start to do that and see the power in it, it starts to feel like we need it, and it doesn't feel selfish, because I think we often just get into that thing of feeling guilty because we want 5 minutes to ourselves. But actually having that 5 minutes to ourselves, like you said, makes us a better person. It makes us a better mum. And that shift is huge. And one thing that I did just want to mention as well, because when you said about like the book and stuff, and how, you know, I think you said about a little while ago how you'd written like a list of all the things that you wanted to do. That was mornings, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then it was a really unachievable. And even for me, like reading a book, you think that's how it's going to be straight away. And I think one thing that we wanted to make really apparent, that it's not at all. Like, if we want to get there, it's the little steps. It's the tiniest change, being proud of that change, and then powering it on for your next change, and really just testing and trying out new things, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is, absolutely. And it's that sort of feeling of, whether it's just mornings or anything, if there's a kind of feeling of like, I want to overhaul this, like I want to completely restart and, you know, completely mix it up and change it, it can feel overwhelming. And then if we try to, like with my mornings, I probably tried to run before I could walk, so to speak, and tried to do too much initially. And that's why I had to strip it back and be like, no, just one step at a time, and be patient with myself, because I've been practicing these bad habits or being a non-morning person for a lot of years. So and I've got good at that, you know, and it's now about getting good at something better, something that's going to serve me better. So, you know, it's like learning a new language. I wouldn't expect to be able to speak, you know, if I wanted to speak Mandarin, I wouldn't expect to, you know, grab a book and be able to speak it fluently in 2 weeks. You know, you have to give yourself patience and time. And I think that's like with any change or any shift in life. That's really important. And there was one other thing I was going to share. It's completely slipped my mind. Sorry. No, it's gone. It'll come back. I'm sure it'll come back. But yeah, what would be one piece of advice or one tool or tip that you would share, Charlotte, to anyone that's listening that would like to change their mornings or make a start in improving their mornings?
Oh, I think it would have to be putting yourself first, which feels so unnatural in the beginning. But when you start to do that, that's when change follows for me, because I got so good at not putting myself first, and I'd be so exhausted by the time I got to where I was on my list that I would never do that. And for me, in putting myself first in the morning, that's the most powerful piece, because I've given myself time to A, wake up, B, get my mind in the right way that I want how I want the day to go and how I want to be, and then I can be that. And I think it just becomes much more achievable.
Fantastic.
Yeah, what would yours be?
It. Oh, good question. So I was, you know, I like a very practical kind of thinker. So I would probably say start small. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever you're setting your alarm clock to now.
Yeah.
Just come back 10 or 15 minutes and own those 10 or 15 minutes and be mindful of what you do in those 10 or 15 minutes. You know, I think, like you said, just shifting from stepping out of social media, and you can put a 10-minute meditation on, and that is going to make a shift. It absolutely is. And maybe put your phone somewhere less inaccessible.
Yes.
So if you're setting that alarm, it's just not in arm's reach. You've got to get up the other side of the room to turn it off. But give yourself 10. Start off small and build.
I've just thought of one of the things that I did actually as well, way in the beginning. This was before meditating or anything like that. Was I used to physically step out when I put the kettle on. I'd step outside, and I think I'd literally take like 3 to 5 really deep breaths of fresh air. And that was huge. I forgot, actually, that was literally where I started. I was like, oh my goodness, outside, because I remember you saying that you'd go on a walk and things. And I was like, I can at least grab myself a bit of fresh air in the morning. And it's just everything, like you say, being mindful of that time. That's 3 to 5 good breaths of fresh air whilst the kettle's boiling. And you hear the birds, you notice like the traffic. Like I remember noticing like the traffic in lockdowns and stuff where it had really quietened and then it had gone back up again. And you just become more aware in your day and what's around you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know between us we have many more tips, tools, ideas, practices that we're going to hopefully share. And sort of dig a bit deeper into those. So did
we want to have a little mention about the challenge that we have coming up?
Yes, indeed. So that's going to be the end of this month, isn't it? So kicking off from the Monday the 25th of April for a 3-day challenge, and then on day 4 we're sort of going to hook up and kind of get some feedback and a bit of a roundup of the challenge. So 4 days in total, but 3 days are going to be challenge days where we are going to, it's a completely free challenge, encourage you all, if you want to make a shift in your morning, if you want to own your morning and add some magic to your morning, we would absolutely love for you to join us, wouldn't we, on this 3-day challenge. We're going to be holding you accountable because we're going to be expecting you to show up. video on or video off, audio on or audio off, but show up with us for, we're thinking about sort of 15 minutes, aren't we, Charlotte?
15 minutes, we're thinking about 6:45 till 7.
Yeah. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of that week commences the 25th of April. And in those 15 minutes for those 3 mornings, we're going to show you and guide you through a couple of practices that we do that you can add into your morning to make a shift into your morning in just 15 minutes a day. You can set your day off to a really great start. So if you'd love to join us, then we'll put the details out there. So as we say, completely,
can't we? We can wake up together, and I'm really excited to wake up as a group and be like, right, what we're going to do to get today off to a good start and stop being so tough on ourselves. We're going to go into the day,
absolutely,
being kind and putting ourselves much higher on our to-do list, where we deserve to be, and live life better together and start thinking better through our mornings.
100%. So 15 minutes to turn your morning around to get your day off to a great start, starting on Monday the 25th of April. So come join us.
Yes, and all the details will follow, won't they? We'll put those out there, and we can't wait for you to join us on there, and let's transform those mornings. Let's do it. Absolutely. It's been lovely talking to you, Charlotte. And you too.
We'll see you guys soon.
Yes, for sure.
Take
Amazing.
care.
Bye.